All right, you should have had these in your packets, and I've got extra copies up there if anyone needs them. Again, just the process of this review, what I have in front of me is directly from the revised handbook that hasn't been approved yet, so we're still operating by the current handbook. But I'm looking at pages 23 and forward. Article 5, payroll benefits and administration. Some of this is very straightforward, just how we do time cards and withholdings and so forth. So I'll draw your attention to just something on page 24 in regards to time benefits such as comp time or compensatory time. This is, I draw this to your attention because this is mentioned 3 times in different parts of the policy, and comp time is given at 1.5 hour rate in lieu of overtime, but there's limits on it. An employee can't accrue more than 80 hours of comp time, and it should be used within a 6-month period. This has gone back and forth through various iterations. We used to require that any comp time be used within a 2-week period, and so that's changed to a 6-month period. But I found in my experience that not all employees understand the parameters of comp time. So we've tried to make sure that every reference in the policy is the same. And so there's some consistency there.
So, Tim, just on that point, so just so I understand, if somebody stays over and works 4 hours beyond their usual work week, they can take 6 hours of comp time within that time period. Is that how it works?
According to this, within a 6 months period, they can use that 6 hours.
And who keeps track of all this stuff?
Usually it goes through Leanne and Patrick to track it on payroll.
And these time cards and all that, is this new? Is that in the old policy, the time cards?
It was in the old policy. I'm assuming we've been doing time cards for quite a while.
Have we?
Over 20 years. Well, every year I've been here 20 years, we've always had time card.
Now, it's not a clock. You don't punch a clock. It's all electronic. It's either your hand.
Yeah, I was doing that in the AG's office, and
Yep.
I was convinced that nobody ever looked at it. I didn't know why I was doing it, but we did it.
It's supposed to be.
Which is weird when you were a salaried worker.
Well, but it's supposed to be the way that the employee communicates to HR, I'm using this much vacation time, I'm
Yeah.
using this much sick or comp.
That's the reason for doing it.
Right. For a salaried employee, right, we're not watching your hours.
Okay.
So,
Thanks.
okay. As you get to page 25, you start talking a little bit about health insurance. I want to just make a couple of points here. We offer 3 programs through the Maine Municipal Employee Health Trust. One's a $0 deductible, one's a $200 deductible, and one's a slightly higher deductible. When we calculate how much is the benefit to the employee only, we use a benchmark, so that we use the $200 deductible benchmark to factor that price in. So if an employee chooses a no deductible, they're paying the extra for it. I bring this up because as we get closer to the budget times, one of the things that the budget committee recommended is if the county goes and uses that benchmark and sets it at a higher deductible, the county may save money that way, and it'll require the employee to pay a little more. Even though you're still paying 100%, you're going to benchmark that 100% on a higher deductible, lower cost plan. That was recommended by the budget committee, and we promised them that we'd talk about it as you get into the budget time. So I want to make you aware of that. Also, on the health insurance buyout options, commissioners recommend non-union employees a 4-month buyout if they have insurance through another agency. Just so you're aware, 2 unions now have implemented 6 months. So it's about a 50% of the cost instead of a third of the cost. So, any questions about insurances? If not, I will just flip ahead to page 27. We have had language that says we have an employee wellness plan.
Well, no, actually, I was thinking about this, I didn't know about the 6 months under the union contracts. I wondered if we should make the non-union employees equal with 6 months as well.
That's certainly up to your discretion.
Up to us to do, I know. So we can consider that at another time.
Okay, I'll make a note to come back to that. All right, anything else?
Of course, no, it's all right, it gets too much in the weeds.
So on page 27, the reference there to employee wellness. Employee wellness had only encompassed the payment for your membership in a local gym. Now, the county wouldn't pay for that membership, but the county would allow that membership fee to be taken out of your payroll. So, and both of these, Miller Fitness and Somerset Sports and Fitness, do offer discounts to Somerset County employees. So I was kind of confused. I thought the county paid for your gym membership if you wanted to. No, they allow you to take it out of your payroll. And so that's a kind of a convenience. We're going to talk in workshop number 4 about really kind of expanding this whole idea of a employee wellness plan. But that's all we have in the current policy. The remainder of that article is really workman's comp issue, which is pretty much taken right from statute. So if there's no questions on that, I direct your attention to page 30, where we look at Article 6, hours of work, time off, and holidays. I just highlighted that in our list of holidays, we always have this add-on that most policies have. In addition to the above listed holidays, the county will recognize any holiday declared by the state or the federal government. For Maine, that has to do with things like Patriots' Day, which was adopted as a New England holiday. And of course, most recently, Juneteenth was adopted as a federal holiday. Of course, all the other holidays and so forth, you have your discretion to alter. Weather-related closings. I always go back to this line that the county administrator makes an informed, common-sense decision. And he is praised for those decisions over and over again. So there used to be this thinking that permeated the area that if the courts closed, then the county courthouse would be closed. I haven't followed that. Now, district court on a storm or snow or weather event, district court will text me at 6 o'clock in the morning and tell me what they're doing. And then I make an informed decision, hopefully, that we'll either follow suits or we'll do something a little bit different. I'll give you an example. That bad storm on December 19th when the generator was out. Obviously, the courthouse was closed because we had no power. However, we were able to restore power and we were able to go to work the next day. Well, the court called me at 6 o'clock, says district court's going to be closed all day. Their primary reason was the main courthouse in Augusta was still underwater. And so that didn't really affect our business. So even though the courts were closed, we opened that day after the December storm. So that's kind of an example of how I like to approach it. The other thing I've addressed, and I highlighted this on page 31, is that I try to express to department heads, in this day and age, a weather closing is not a holiday. There's still work that I expect me to do and I expect the other department heads to do. We have enough employees that can work from home that you can structure it in such a way that it's not a holiday. If we do close, then yes, certain non-essential people can go home, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't try to work if they can. So that's my 2 cents on the weather-related.
Is that a big pie in the sky there? I mean, there's no enforcement mechanism for that, so.
I can email you. If you don't email me back, I'll call you. If you don't call me back, I'll wonder where.
When I get the email, I'm riding at the chairlift at Sugarloaf. Yes, I'm working too.
Working on my slalom.
I think the people are working though. I mean, on these days, we're all like,
In
the ones
this,
that can work, we're working.
in this day and age,
Yeah.
you have so much more warning ahead of time as to what it's going to do, when it's going to do it. You know, in my 5 months as Madison Road Commissioner, I learned that you can tell when it's going to start snowing, where it's going to start snowing. And so I think, and people, just like school kids, you know, they get all giddy, hey, it's gonna be a snow day tomorrow, it's gonna be a snow day tomorrow. Well, in anticipation, we can communicate, all right, DA's office, your folks can work from home, you can do this. You know, deeds, I know you probably can't work from home, so you'll have to adjust in this. And so, you know, we can make adjustments, and really, it's just a best effort. You're right. I mean, I'm not gonna be able to tell everybody that who's working and who's not.
Well, I always find weather reports to be kind of hyped up because they make more money that way or sell more snow shovels. And I just think we should close, I think it's really great that we decouple from the court system because they close at the first snowflake. It's ridiculous. They used to wait for a couple of feet to pile up before they would close. And it really changed. And I think your common sense approach is a good one.
I'm trying.
I don't think we should have a quick trigger.
Yeah. On the bottom of page 31 is vacation time.
We're not going to weather closing, just one of the things that does happen, what isn't mentioned here, is that sometimes the governor will call the state to be closed, and that will spill over to towns and counties as well.
That's exactly what happened in July 5th. So
we might want to think about addressing that in this policy.
yeah, I thought about that. I'm not sure if I want to put something in writing that says if the governor closes a state, we're automatically closed.
I think that's just another factor for you to take into consideration
Yeah.
in your reasonable common sense decision.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because maybe the weather ain't so bad here.
Yeah.
It's tougher.
That's right. And it's true, it's been times when it hasn't been bad here, but it has been bad in Augusta.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime the legislature meets, the weather's bad.
That's right. That's right. All right. Thank you. I know that Commissioner Seekins has had some concerns about vacation time, and I just wanted to relay that I've we can discuss this at another time too, but I've kind of looked back, and vacation time with this maximum of 280 hours, that was in the handbook in 2014. Then it was taken out of the handbook in 2017, and the max was 4 weeks. The max was 160 hours. But you could carry 160 hours. So essentially, if you didn't use 4 weeks in 1 year, you could have 8 weeks for the next year. And so then that got kicked out, and the 280 was back in 2022. So I'm not quite sure where the rationale has been to bounce that vacation back.
Different boards.
And I would say, and you know, this is not taking away from any long-term employees, I understand this idea. In my opinion, when you're recruiting and retaining people, it may be worth considering putting a little more vacation time at the beginning when somebody is hired. You know, not many places make you wait 6 months before you can take a vacation day anymore. And so...
Are we going by what you did?
Well, that's an individual thing, so. But, depending on who you're hiring, and I think both of us sitting up here, but depending on who you're hiring, you know, to make a job offer with no vacation, I don't think that's gonna fly.
Or to leave a job where you had 6 weeks already,
Right.
and to go back to,
That sounds like something we should do pretty soon, is that? That makes perfect sense.
Well, I think I've got some other notes, I wanna wait till you get a full commission board, but I've got some other notes, and I thought I'd maybe workshop specifically vacation days.
yeah.
Well, do we have employees that have been working here for more than 20 years that are taking 7 weeks of vacation a year?
We're doing pretty good.
Yes.
We are,
They're taking 7 weeks?
Well, you're only allowed to bring over a certain amount, so whatever you get the next year, you have to use up to get down.
Well, I just didn't know whether people are banking it, or, I mean, you can only bank so much. right?
Yeah, you can only carry so much.
Some people just feel, I've got work to do, I can't take 7, you know, they just feel like a need to stay at work.
I will admit that when I don't use it up, because I'm busiest at my work in the summer, which is when I'd want to use my vacation, that I've taken a lot of days off in February and March simply because I had to get down below a number or lose them.
right.
And is that,
Sitting home watching TV.
so a lot of the bigger vacation hunks are worked off, so to speak, by just a day at a time here and there?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Rather than the 2 weeks?
Yeah, no big chunks.
Yeah, okay.
Days here and there.
So you're always around. Okay.
But we have most of those down. thing.
I,
We don't.
you know, we review it every month
Yeah.
to see who, and then when we review it, we get in touch with that department head.
Yeah.
And in many cases, it is a department head, so we get in touch with them and say, hey, you're kind of running a little bit high here, and we need to figure out something. And of course, you had COVID, and then you had staff shortages where, you know, department heads were taking on more work. And so I'd like to think that we're easing out of that.
Yeah.
And I'd like to look at kind of reshaping a little bit. So I think we can workshop that. And in addition, when you talk about sick time, with the implementation of paid family medical leave, we may want to consider capping sick time. So that's something that currently there is no cap on sick time. We do not offer a payout anymore. There's some that are grandfathered that we did offer payouts to. But I'd like you to maybe take some considerations of what paid family medical leave is going to do to unlimited sick time. So. And then there's another, another cross-reference to comp time, but that's really all I had, unless you had any other specific questions on
Does-
those articles.
Paid family medical leave itself have a cap?
12 weeks,
Okay.
yeah. So. And that's 12 weeks per calendar year,
Right.
so.
All right.
Very good.
Any other questions on the handbook review? Seeing none, we can move forward to the Somerset County Jail work truck.
So that should be the manila envelope up there at the bottom.
Ah, here we are. We're opening up this. No knives to stab myself with. Just the one, that's something else, okay. Height Ford, 2024 Ford F-350 with something in the bed liner, 2 extra keys, Fisher 9.5 plow. So $60,149 plus the plow for $9,900 with the trade-in value of $15,049. It brings the total bid price to $55,000.
Is that 55 even?
That's 55 even. No tax or title.
Good.
Let's see if there's anything else I'm missing. And then, I'm just trying to see if there's extra money for the extended warranty, but there's a minimum, there's an extended warranty cost if we wanted to do it of $3,900. So instead of 3 years, 36,000 miles, for the extra 3,900, you'd get 100,000 miles in 60 months. So,
What do you think, Cheryl?
Is that the other one?
Well, in that bid, does it have the spraying of the under,
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It was the spray in the bed liner, line X, and 2,
Yeah.
the issue is that, that those work trucks, work trucks don't get a lot of mileage, but we do our own plowing and salting, and the reason this truck, it's rusted badly. But if they're spraying the underneath, I don't know if the additional warranty is.
That's what I was thinking too.
yes, as long as we maintain it well,
Yeah, exactly.
The drivetrain should be fine.
Undercoated,
Yeah.
with that, whatever that black spray.
and there's a used one for sale up on Route 201 on the Waterville Road, right there, by the basket, with a sander on the back and a plow in front.
Oh, you mean,
Has anyone ever
Yeah,
discussed
Snapchat.
I saw that.
contracting out snow plowing for the jail facility?
Yeah, very, very expensive. They get probably,
I know the hospital one's pretty expensive, but.
I think they might have done it, I think they might have done it, the year before I was sheriff, would be about 10 years ago. They had a local contractor, they did a cost analysis back then, and the cost for us to doing it ourselves was, there was a lot of savings of doing it ourselves. Plus, we've got to run 24/7.
Yeah.
So we have to open up for the night crew, the morning crews, and those are always not in line with when a private contractor was able to do it. But that has been 10 years ago.
I've got the copy on my desk, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I think the contract for plowing here in the comm center is about $18,000 for the winter. And so you've got a much larger space over there.
Times 5 for the job.
Right, and 24-hour, plus jail maintenance is able to go into the restricted areas that a contractor would have to have clearance, and all that complicates it.
Plus, the sheriff echoed that 24/7 doesn't always work, and I can vouch that 24/7 does not always work. They don't necessarily always show up when they're supposed to be there.
That's right.
Change, so.
So that's, that, any other questions on that? The vehicle specs are right here. You want to see them? Let's see what else is here. Behind here. Just more of the same. So, the total bid is the $55,000 if we decide to go that route. And so if we're all set with that, I could go forward with open bids for paving a portion of the Rockwood Fire Station parking lot. All set? There we go. There's only one bid for that as well, and this is from Fine Line Paving and Grading LLC. And for removal of gravel in front of the new bay to a depth of 4 inches from the concrete apron in front of the building to the shoulder of Route 15, this area roughly 19 feet wide and 90 feet long. Install 18-inch ground butt joints along all the existing pavement driveway and Route 15 to a depth of 1.5 inches and apply a tack coat to this area as well. Place 2.5 inches of base 3/4 inch hot mix asphalt to replace the removed gravel. Apply tack on base asphalt. Place 1.5 inches of 1/2 inch hot mix asphalt over the new base, bringing it level with the existing driveway pavement, and dig safe the project. And it says the rate is $19,800 for a total of $19,800. We do not accept credit cards.
Close to what you...
Good for him.
Is that our only bid?
That's our only bid.
Is that in the ballpark?
Yes, we budgeted for 2 jobs up to the fire station, paving first, and then some roof repair. And this is a much smaller amount than I was afraid it might be.
Well set. We can move forward to the wellness, employee wellness program.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this before you and really give kudos to Leanne and the team that she pulled together for a wellness committee. This is something that we've been talking about. It came out of some department head meetings, it came out of some safety committee meetings, And based on her experience in Farmington, Leanne has had experience with the Maine Employee Health Trust, Maine Municipal, and the Wellness Works program that they offer. So I put some information in your handbook there. And really, one of the reasons I wanted you to review this today is we have an opportunity to get some grant money. They will pay $40 per employee that you have in the health trust, and we have 67 employees in the health trust. So they will pay a grant of about $2,680 to be used for various programs that we can offer to all of our employees. Now, we can kind of structure it in such a way that some goes to the health trust members, but we want to open up things like the classes. There's healthy choices classes, cooking classes. There's a class that really caught our attention, which is explaining your benefits, because there are lots of benefits, telehealth, being able to use walk-in clinics that really need to be better explained to all of our employees. And so there are some funds that we'd like to use to create a quiet space. One of the things I realized when walking through the comm center is their stressful areas, they have a place dedicated where somebody can go and just kind of take a time out for a while. And while our jobs may not be as stressful up there, sometimes we do need a place for our mental and emotional wellness. So, scream into a pillow, that sort of thing. So those are some of the things in the program that Leanne has put together, and I'm talking about you while you're right here. Is there anything you want to add to this?
No.
Okay.
He's got it. That's good.
So do we still have the exercise room down in the basement?
We do, and we're thinking that maybe we can better utilize that space.
Just wondering how that would incorporate, yeah.
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 When we may rearrange some items
Yeah.
and
So how long is this grant for?
we can apply for it every year.
I just was wondering what would happen if it ran out and we've not budgeted otherwise.
No, oh, well, no.
And a lot of the items that we've budgeted for in this grant would be, contingent on having that grant money.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't foresee this as being a budgeted expense.
No.
In the
I mean, if
future.
we only have 50 people that take the insurance, obviously the grant money would be less.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's 40 per member, so.
Yeah. I don't know that it's ever run out, as long as everybody has it.
And I don't know how strong the wellness awards need to be, water bottles and T-shirts, seems.
Well, we wanted to create a budget that would match the grant dollars, and so there's some flexibility there.
These are the things that they suggest, that way people will participate.
Right, yeah.
You can earn a platinum water bottle, so.
Get one of those Stanleys. Yeah, okay.
Well, there is a resolution later for you to accept that $2,600 grant.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure there's an opportunity to answer any questions at this point.
And that's based on 67 employees.
Correct.
Okay. Very good. No public hearings, public comment to allow the public to comment or reserve time to speak on an upcoming agenda item. Does somebody want to speak?
I was seeing if we were checking us on YouTube.
Are we on YouTube?
I periodically check.
We're a little delayed.
It actually works. I noticed that 2 people are watching.
Oh, that's very good.
Now look at that.
All right. New agenda items, commissioners only? Anything? Okay. Finance reporting, Patrick is not here today, and it's pretty much transition time anyway from one year to the other. It's probably little, anything of note?
No, I mean, it's pretty much status quo for this time of year.
Okay. And now let's see, administrator report.
So I had my submitted report in there. The only thing I'd add to that is, just so everyone's aware, I'll be keeping track of phone calls and emails, but I will be out of the country from next Wednesday and coming back the following Monday. So from the 14th to the 19th, I'll be in the grand country of Canada and Edmonton, Alberta, officiating a wedding for my nephew. So.
You licensed up?
No, I was joking with Robert, that I sent my ordination papers and my notary public papers, and they weren't sufficient for Canada's standards. And so I'll be officiating the wedding, but the boy's grandfather is an ordained minister in Alberta, and so he'll do the legal parts.
Are you close to the fire? Is fires?
You know, it seems like there's fires every year up in Calgary and that area. Last year when we were out there, we were staying at a hotel, and the hotel was filled from people from a reservation that had to flee because of the fires.
All right. Well, now, department heads, if you're all done, Tim, all set?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Department heads, Pavel.
So still continue working on multiple projects, so like VPN tunnel, core network upgrades for the servers and switches. And my goal for this year is to work on policies and procedures for IT. So I started reviewing them, and it's like a lot of work that needs to be done to review existing ones that we have and create a new one. So that's my goal for this year. They work on the cybersecurity. So that's basically, we're busy.
Any questions? All set. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tammy?
Good afternoon. I have a few things for you. Last month, we handled 2,222 calls for service, which was for 911 calls, which was averaging out 72 a day. Calls for service, 6,623, or 214 a day. Our Central Square CAD project, the new CAD that we were working towards for the last 2 years, has been put on hold. We were supposed to go live September 24th, and they were unable to develop 3 key interfaces that we needed to function. So that decision was just made yesterday by the Bill team. The sheriff was involved, chief, and other chiefs from each respective police department. So we're on hold until they threw out a date, possibly the end of April, 1st of May. So I'll have more for you as soon as I know. On July 12th, Shane Hunt delivered a breech baby successfully. Baby's doing well, so he'll receive a stork award from Maine as well as the International Academy of Emergency Dispatch. On July 26th, dispatchers Gilbert Putnam and Hunt as well processed a medical call, and multiple agencies were involved. Yesterday in the mail, the comm center received a nice large package full of patches, challenge points, coloring books, and 2 nice letters thanking us, and I'll just briefly read it. It's from a dispatch center in Texas who was affected by this call. And it says, your agency recently worked a medical call that involved a family member of one of our employees. We want to thank you for your compassion and professionalism during this, what was a very scary time for the family. We do appreciate all you do each and every day. So we really appreciate hearing that. And the last thing I have for you is the courthouse generator. Finally, just this afternoon, got a date for us. That's going to be August 31st, because they have to do it on a Saturday. They're going to replace the switch, which will take 6 hours to just replace the switch. And this is Labor Day weekend, of course. So Pavel is involved as well. So the functionality of some of our Citrix and things like that are going to be down during that period of time. We will let agencies know, of course. So with Monday being a holiday, Tuesday, we need to coordinate propane to be here, and they're going to set the generator, hook up the propane, and we should be good to go from there. So, that should be fun.
Some complex things. 6 hours to replace the switch, that's,
It's a big switch.
it's a big switch.
So I have a question. The baby delivery, was that done in person or over the phone?
Over the phone.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
That was the phone a little closer, I can't see.
And the instructions that we have do work because the baby is able to be moved safely. And
That's awesome.
So you have like a worksheet you can refer to,
Yeah.
what to do next.
They just look it up on YouTube.
Tell your husband you're very well.
Well, that's wonderful, thank you very much.
That's fantastic.
Mike?
I mentioned this a couple of meetings ago. We did have the tabletop exercise on July 18th for Harris Dam with Brookfield. Had about 45 people in attendance at that tabletop exercise. About 40 people prior to the exercise toward the dam. So it kind of gave us a visual. It was a really nice day, and the rafters were setting out, and we could have just as easily gotten the rafts and gone down the river to go back to the exercise. But everybody ended up back there anyway. The functional for that process will happen on August 21st. It'll be from 8 to 3 at Moscow Elementary, and there should be significantly more players there than what there were at the tabletop exercise.
So what's the difference?
Well, the tabletop basically is we went through their flow charts and their plan and kind of looked at where the inundation areas were and how long it was going to take to get to Bingham, how long was it take to get to Scouting, and depending upon whether it was a sunny day breach or it was, in the springtime when we had spring runoff and it had a week of rain, we just take a look at that quickly. This actually will be, agencies will be divided up in sections, and there will be scenarios set out to each agency. So, the comm center will get this has just happened and who you're going to notify, and they'll have to actually physically get up and take notes and notify the different agencies at their tables of what's happening. So it's kind of it's a mock full scale. So we're not really bringing all the players out in the field and doing it, but we're doing it in one location in the gymnasium at Moscow Elementary.
And do we do this once a year, is it, or?
No, it's
several years?
So FERC controls all of the high hazard dams and when they have to be done. So Brookfield actually took this one on themselves. We haven't been involved very heavily, other than making sure that all the players are at the table and confirming the list for them. So the FERC does require that all high hazard dams used to be 5 years. Each dam had to be exercised in some form every 5 years. With COVID, that kind of changed, because I think we've been closer to 10 years since we've done Harris Dam. I think it probably was about 7 years ago that we did Wyman in the same location up at Moscow Elementary. So, but this will include everybody up and down the corridor for the river, all the way down to Lincoln County and Saginaw County, and those players coming to the exercise as well. So it just kind of brings everybody together and makes you realize that if it does happen, watch out, because we're going to be in trouble. So I have submitted the emergency management preparation grant, which is our match that we get every year that we do at budget time for the coming year, with projects listed in there. I expect that will probably be around the same timeline as the Homeland Security grant as far as notification goes, into September, 1st of October. It technically kicks in October 1st because the federal year runs through September 30th, and then the new EMPG year starts October 1st. So we'll be running really close on that one to the timeline. Just lastly, I've mentioned to you 100 times the hazard mitigation plan. We did have our 2 public hearings. One was last Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the other was Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. We set about 2 different times to kind of target 2 different audiences. We had in-person and virtual attendees. We had towns who attended. We had Maine DOT who attended. We actually had the towns represented also by KV Cog, because Grania was there from KV Cog to kind of get the bigger picture. And so that plan, the draft has been submitted to Ann Fuchs, who's the Director of Mitigation at FEMA, excuse me. I'll get the acronym right. She's at Maine Emergency Management. Once that passes her review, she will come back with any suggestions if she has them. And if not, she will pass that up through to FEMA for their review and their approval. The criteria changed greatly over the 5 years as to what FEMA was looking for, because a 95-page plan in 2018 has turned into a 134-page plan this year. So it's pretty comprehensive, and I will say our contractor that we had, this will be the 4th update that he's done for us, and does a phenomenal job. So
Great.
it's, the best part of this plan is these normally take 12 to 18 months to get together and to get up to FEMA, and we did this one in 6 months and 3 days from the time we had our original kickoff. So it was an expedited process, so hopefully we get them to expedite the approval on the other end.
Any questions or comments for Mike? Thank you. David?
Things in the UT are moving along, there's no big changes, just kind of the daily routine. The FEMA application is doing things on their end. Some of our expenses have been submitted. The agent I have that works for Somerset County, works with us, is out on vacation right now, and they gave me another person to call if I ran into any problems, but right now we're waiting to hear back from them. Everything else is pretty much the same.
Good. Sheriff?
Patrol handled 440 calls for service last week. They're presently working on fatal, motor vehicle fatal and sold. The detectives are working, and they've already executed one search warrant out of the Wright's store in Hartland. The fair begins tomorrow, which will keep us busy. And I'd like to have a workshop with you all at some point to talk about Axon. Axon presently does our tasers. And what I want to have a discussion about is the evolution of our in-car cameras and incorporating body cameras on our deputies.
That'll be great.
But that's really the workshop event.
Certainly look forward to that workshop. And hopefully all the commissioners will be here for that especially. Thank you. Anything else?
No, sir.
All set? Any questions, concerns? All right. Unfinished business. Resolution 24-160 to award the bid for a Somerset County Jail work truck, which is the bid we just opened for the
55,000.
I move we accept the bid for the, as you have read it, the F-350 truck plus plow and undercoat with tray for $55,000 without a warranty.
first and second discussion. All in favor? We're good to go.
Excellent.
New business, resolution 24-161, to approve the collective bargaining agreement with the Somerset County Jail Corrections Officers effective August 7th, 2024 through June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Discussion?
This is how we left it before.
This is exactly how we left it before. The corrections officers did ratify it on Monday, and there's no retro, so whatever the pay amounts were approved in there, they start effectively not going back to July 1st.
Very good. All set for discussion? All in favor? We're good. Thank you. Resolution 24-162, accept the Somerset County Employee Wellness Grant.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. We heard a lot in the workshop. Anything else? All in favor? Resolution 24-163, to approve Jeff Warner as full-time dispatcher for the Somerset Communications Center.
Move.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Let's go. Resolution 24-164, to approve the hire of Shane Hunt as Communications Deputy Director.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? So go. Resolution 24-165, to approve the hire of Michael Welch as Somerset County Jail Administrator.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Congratulations to Michael Welch.
Thank you very much. I believe he's been with was instrumental in making our programs division very robust. We're statewide, recognized by a lot of programs that he has initiated. I believe he's going to bring some stability to the jail staff.
That'll be great, and I've heard a lot of good things about him, So that's good.
I think we're fortunate.
That's worked out well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's see, M, capital reserve expenditures to approve a capital expense of $45,000, well, let's say up to $45,162 for the purchase of a 2024 Chrysler Pacifica transport van for the Somerset County Jail.
So moved.
Second?
And before we go further with this, I was hoping that we'd be able to move this ahead earlier, so I made some phone calls, and when I made some phone calls, I forgot to mention that this was actually already okay in the sense for a Tahoe, which didn't really fit the real bill of what we needed.
Yeah, so-
So, with that, I just want to apologize, I would have been a little bit more, if I hadn't forgotten about that point, I think we would have been able to have gone through and picked it up on Monday. I do understand that there's still $2,000 we can pick up off.
Right, so I had a conversation, well, actually, the voicemail that I got from the dealer, from an inquiry that I had. We did lose a little bit, but we will get an incentive of $2,000. My thought process, prior jail administrator would have wanted to try a Tahoe. Once, and we did budget for a certain amount of money. Once I really got looking into it and what the applications were, I think in this particular instance, the county will be better off to go with the Pacifica, more of a minivan type of platform for those runs that we take someone individually to the hospital or to their doctor's appointment, and if we need to bring 2 or 3 people down to arraignment. I mean, we use video arraignment, but sometimes the judge wants to see the person. So I think after thinking about that, I thought that the Pacific would be a better application. And as my email to the county administrator, our savings from what we had originally budgeted for that position would be about 13 grand. So.
Yeah. So, and it's I've actually seen it, it's a nice van, it's got a tow package on it.
Well, yeah, if we waited for 2025, and I don't know when that would be here, it would be more expensive than this. The county administrator did some work, and I applaud him for that. As you well know, we're having difficulties procuring vehicles.
Yeah.
What the county administrator, and I don't want to speak for him, but I guess I can, that Aroostook County has done away with their RFP program because they're going out of state to get vehicles, but they can't, because they're hurting. They can't get that vehicles. Cumberland County is the dealerships down there are not even taking their RFP. They're 16 months behind getting vehicles. I can tell you that our fleet is in trouble. I just lost the transmission out of a truck last night. We're paying, and we need it because we need the truck because it's we're using spares. This is we're paying $3,500 to get a transmission to put back into it, and that's a bill we incurred this week. So as we move forward, I would like, we really need to have a conversation about, we've got, the RFP process is a good process, we should abide by it, but we need to start looking at, we've got to make our fleet healthy first before we can look at our own bureaucracies.
And I think to the sheriff's point there, Cumberland County, that should really concern you. They put out a bid for 12 vehicles. They only got 1 bid back, and it was just for 2 of the vehicles. So 10 of their vehicles came back with no bids on them at all. How many dealers are there in Cumberland County? And they're not responding to that. So the RFP process, and this kind of leads to the question that commissioners often ask, why are we only getting one bid? Why are we only getting one bid? It's, people just aren't responding, and, you know, there's the letter of the law that says you should put out the RFP, and that's fine, but we can't make people bid on these processes. And many of these dealers know that they can't get these cars for any sooner than they come, so they get discouraged by doing it. I think one of the things I learned from looking at these 5 or 6 other counties that responded is there's got to be a flexible enough approach and good communication between the sheriff, myself, and the commissioners, so that if you see an opportunity, you're able to respond to that opportunity. And this is where, like, Kennebec County is even going to CarMax to buy used cars.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so that should trigger something to say, okay, how do we approach buying used cars? And if it's, yeah, obviously it'd be a financial savings, but I don't know if we've ever bought used cars as a county. And how do you do an RFP on a used car? You really can't, because they're all different.
So out of the FY '24 budget, we purchased 7 Tahoes. I have 1 Tahoe right now. I have 1 Tahoe that's in the Heights lot that they received something from GM saying you can't sell that vehicle. They have 2 vehicles in Boston that I can't get here. I've even offered, I'll go to Boston and get the vehicles. And I have 3 that they have not even issued VIN numbers, and they have no idea. And that's the FY '24 budget. Now we're into the FY '25 budget, and I have 6 or 7 Tahoes that I have to issue, that I need to bid for. Who knows? And all the while, the vehicles that we're running now, the mileage just keeps going up and the maintenance just keeps going up.
I don't know much about this, but these vehicles like a Tahoe, and I suppose you could get a Dodge counterpart to that or other makes, this problem exists throughout the entire auto industry, is that?
Yeah, so it's not just two GM, and some time ago, and when I took office, we moved from a standard purchase of a vehicle to, and in part by liability, but I bid for a police vehicle, a police-rated vehicle.
Right, so you can't just go down to Joe Schmo's Auto and buy a brand new Tahoe. It's a police package is what you need.
Yeah.
And who puts in the police package? The manufacturer?
Yeah, the manufacturer makes a certain amount of police.
So is there like a nationwide shortage of police vehicles?
It would certainly seem to be the case that we're experiencing in Maine.
And there's no way, there's no way of doing it yourself, to bring a vehicle up to specs that would be serviceable.
They don't have time.
Well,
Who's going to do
it
it?
has to do with, so to bring something to a police vehicle.
I know what's in it, you have lights, and.
Yeah, that's not even that. That's the engine, the transmission, the braking, all that is part of the police package.
Yeah.
So that's all souped up, so to speak, for.
Well, for lack of better words, I mean, all the braking is enhanced, the electronics are enhanced.
So I'm just.
So when the lights and stuff are on, or they're braking, or it all stresses, so a regular vehicle won't hold up. 1, and 2, the vehicles have really gotten too smart, so like, what pushed me over the edge to just get police vehicles outside of the liability was our trucks. If you buy a regular truck off the lot, if it idles for a half hour, it shuts off as a gas savings. If you're at an accident scene for 8 hours, you can't have your vehicle. We were having deputies off at domestics, they come out and their vehicles are off.
Do you have to enhance the electronic capability as part of the police package as well?
Yeah, yes.
All that, yeah.
In the police package, you have heavy-duty braking, transmission, you also have redundancy in the electronics, in the computer itself, so there's a lot of extras.
If I were to speculate, when manufacturers ramped back up from COVID, and after they shut down their plants for a while, obviously, they're gonna do it in the priority that benefits them the most.
Yeah.
Right.
And so the vehicles that they can make the most profit off of, that's the ones that's gonna get built first. Clearly, police packages have been a lower priority for the manufacturers because they're so slow to be able to release them. So,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what you're talking about then for the time being, until this changes, is that we'd be ready to strike first and quickly to find that if we find a vehicle that's available, we could pick it up.
and I think that's to the point of some of these other counties that respond that they're going out of state. And maybe someone has ordered a police package and wasn't able to pick it up, and so there's one on the lot somewhere in Vermont or Massachusetts. That may be an odd thing. I think this Pacifica is a good example. It doesn't need to be a police package.
Yeah.
It just meets a jail transport need. A work truck, that doesn't need to be a police package. Dave's truck doesn't need to be a police package. So there's some things that we can move on quicker
Yeah.
than the requirements of a patrol vehicle.
Maybe you can bring a couple more multi-police packages back from Canada.
I can get you some Canadian ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Get a deal, 70% off, not 30% off.
Those have four hoofs and rattle.
I'm moving forward. There's been a paradigm shift on how we look at how we purchase. And again, I believe that the procurement policies are important to have in place, but we're kind of in a different time. We've got to rethink how we do this for the time being. I'm really concerned about our fleet.
And is there anything out there that we can pick up? Anywhere?
People are picking them up if the one comes available, people are grabbing them.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is, that in all the bids we've been doing for paving or for this or that or whatever,
Yeah.
we're getting, we all sit up here and think, oh, we'll just get all these big pile of competitive bids and pick through them and find the best one. Typically, we just get one.
Yeah.
And I don't know that, I don't know why. Maybe people don't like working with the government, or they're too busy, or they're making too much money already.
And the thing that struck me when we did the bid to build the salt and sand shed, I talked to about 3 or 4 different contractors, but only one of them actually entered a bid. So people are looking at them, it just all considers if it fits what they want to do. Now, I'm anticipating at the next meeting, you'll be opening bids for the LED conversion for this building, and that's been out there for a couple of months. And I've talked to a number of people, so if we only get one bid, I will be very surprised on that. Because that's a $50,000 project, so.
Well, I guess, just to say, I think what we've done in terms of getting a procedure and a process for bids and all that is good. I think, but we're learning.
Right.
And we should learn, we've learned from the situation, and we should be ready to adapt and, so, I don't think it was a bad move we made, but we're finding out, so it's good as we go.
We're gonna have to be more flexible and see what we can do, and we'll appreciate the sheriff to alert us to anything he finds, so that we can say, oh, yeah.
Well, I will be more, I'm very concerned about the fleet right now. I've already stated that. Again, with your approval, I'll be more aggressive at looking at what I can find elsewhere.
Okay.
Did Heights tell you what the problem was with the Tahoe that they're holding back?
No.
Was that?
No, we asked, and they said the dealership hadn't built it, they just slapped a sticker on it and said, you cannot sell this vehicle yet. Right. So we haven't been told why they can't sell it.
Because I know the most recent recall on Tahoes and other vehicles of that build are the bolts in the back, interior bolts that weren't up to specs that they can break. So,
Yeah, that could be a problem, no?
That's a problem.
Yeah, the wheels fall off.
And these are internal, so it's a,
Yeah.
so whether they've,
We're pushing them, I mean,
Yeah.
having said that, I mean, we still have the two
And that-
that are in Boston and three
and
that,
that might be why what's happened in Boston and what's happened,
Yeah, that
it could
could
be.
be.
well, a hold up on this recall.
At the end of the day, I go, you know, I really don't care, not that I don't care,
Well-
but I want those vehicles.
Right.
Just because my maintenance costs are starting to rise.
Yeah.
I just spent $3,500 this week for training with a car with 150,000 miles on it.
What I'd ask you to do is to talk to the dealers about the police packages that might be available. I know that Ram does a police package truck. It might be something to look at. Fairfield seems to like those,
Right.
as well as anything else that's out there that are police package vehicles that are available. We can go from there.
Okay.
Give us a heads up, and you can tell Tim, and he can broadcast to us.
Well, and just to tell you, so we can do that, and I can do that, but the interior of these cars, if you stay with one brand, you can move equipment from one car to another, let's say. As soon as you start changing the configuration inside is different, and know that the stuff inside the car costs almost as much as the car now. So, I mean, we really have to, if you decide to go that way, there's really a cost analysis that has to go along with that.
Well, if you can't get them, you can't get them, but if you get something else, then I guess you have to go with that.
Yes, sir.
And I'd rather get 2 of one thing rather than not get 6 of another.
And I think the sense of, at least the members that are here, is that if you find a good buy on something we can get quickly, that our authorization would not be unreasonably withheld. I think we jump on it
Thank you.
rather than go through some meaningless RFP program based on our experience with RFPs and vehicles to date. I'm speaking for myself, but I think.
No, I actually mean, and that doesn't mean that when you cast your net, you can cast it wider than the local area.
Right, got it.
There are more dealerships than 1 or 2 or 3 or 4.
No, absolutely.
Be nice if there was a website or something for law enforcement that told you where you could pick one up in St. Louis, Missouri, if you know.
Well, there is a website, and you could pick something up in St. Louis, Missouri.
I don't think they knew, but, you know, I'm just wondering how broad the net can be cast to see where these.
Well, we'll start, now that I have, well, not officially, but if I have your all approval, I will be putting my net wider. So to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already budgeted money, so, haven't we?
Just
There you go.
now that we have a heads up and we go forward.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, on this, the motion was to spend up to $4,562 because we're anticipating the savings of the extra 2,000. And that, I believe this 45 included the trade-in as well?
It does.
It does.
Yeah, okay, so we're essentially looking at 43,162.
Yeah.
All right, so it's, cup of coffee is still on.
You're on.
So,
Yes, all in favor?
I thought we already did.
I thought we did too, but I'll do it again, just to make sure. Nothing like a redundancy, Department of Redundancy. All right, unorganized territory, resolution 24-167, to accept a bid for paving portion of the Rockwood Fire Station parking lot.
I move we approve a bid from Fine Line Paving in the amount of $19,800 for the
portion of the Rockwood Fire Station parking lot paving project.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion? All in favor? That's a go, thank you. Resolution 24-168, to transfer funds previously spent on Camp Association Road maintenance from community benefit to the TIF account of $12,591.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
This is a one-time deal, right?
Oh,
This
that's,
is a correction.
Just a correction to
Correction.
yeah,
fix
it's a
it.
correction, but it's gotta be reversed.
Right.
It's gotta be taken out of TIP and put in community benefit. I think this is written.
No,
No, it's
It's the other
from
one.
community benefit into TIF.
we spent it,
Reimbursing tip.
We're reimbursing
Oh,
TIF.
okay, this is transferring, okay,
That's right.
sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
But this, we're not doing this every year.
so
This is,
at the next meeting is the folks from the association, they're gonna come during the public comment and talk about this. And I didn't know if you wanted to wait and just take that in, or if you wanted to actually have a resolution to whether or not to continue this at the next meeting or do it at a future meeting.
I think we'll wait on that.
Okay,
We need to digest.
gotcha.
Ready to vote?
Ready to vote? All in favor? Yeah. Okay, let's go. Warrants, resolution 24-169, to approve the treasurer's warrant for the general fund, Somerset County Jail, and unorganized territories for an FY 2024 total of $28,003.54, and an FY 2025 total of $161,532.22, for a grand total of fiscal year 24 and fiscal year 25 of $189,535.76.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? That's a go. And miscellaneous discussion items, commissioners only.
All set.
There's one thing, I discussed this with Tim a little bit, which is pertaining to legal representation of the county. We are well represented by counsel, but it seems to me that it might behoove us to, or authorize Tim to kind of shop around a little bit, because there seems to be some legal matters that we could dispose of at much lower cost with other attorneys in the area that would provide them. Not so much for the jail and the host of complex legal issues that arise there, but more stuff from this building. Like, for example, this Palmyra case, it just seems to me that it shouldn't cost as much as we're spending to deal with that. And I know from talking, from lawyers I know around town, that we might be able to get a more, I don't know what the word would be, competitive pricing, fees, whatever.
You know, in our experience, and I've worked with Marchese for a year now, and I've always found him to be very responsive and very helpful. However, I'm just amazed at the workload that he has. I mean, he's handling 5 separate cases for us right now. And so, to Commissioner Alsop's point, if there was somebody that could file a motion for us, or file a brief or something like that, that doesn't have to do with personnel or unions or Human Rights Commission, that's something that, if you're interested in, I could probably look for maybe a more local person that could do that faster and maybe more efficiently. So I don't think we're, as a county, you need to be tied down to one attorney only, but you could have one that do more administrative things and have others focus where their area of expertise is.
Well, that's fine. So at this moment, we may recess to execute documents. There it is. Here.
Oh, count.
Sure. Sorry.